All right, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube, we have achieved over the topness. I don't know if this one's rolling in your view or not, but it's messing me up. We finally broke the 90-degree barrier. The changed out the 1,000-watt element that was in here. It was like this, not this one, but it was like this to one that's probably twice as long. It's 2,000 watts now. It's doing real good. Nothing's getting hot, not even warm. The cords or nothing like that. So we're just taking it as it is what I'm trying to get at. Pumps are doing good, but the floor is where that used to be just 1 degree apart. Now it's better than 2. Which just means there's more, force being put into the water, into the concrete. So it's doing good. I don't have to run none of this at the moment to use up the excess. That's kind of nice, is what I'm trying to say. It's almost time to cook the daily meal. We are at 3,800 watt coming out of the solar. 54 amps going back into the batteries. The battery nominal voltage is 26.9, 26.8. This one here, when it flashes back, it'll tell you the pressure that it's putting on, just kind of like the water, same. The differential from what it's pushing compared to what it actually is. But it's running a full, a nice load is what I'm trying to get at. I had these set at 115 for the freezer. That's what it was made for, is what I'm trying to get at. Back in, is it reality? I mean, is it like critical or whatever? No. When it comes to an induction load, like a heating element, if you're running 110 volts, well, I don't really, how to put it. This is running a 2,000 watt load on that element, which is probably 21, or probably 100 watts of that is the pump. So it's just shy of 2,000, like 1850 or something on that element. If I was to bump this down to 115, that's going to bring that element, or what the element's going to consume, down to about 180-ish is what I'm trying to get at. I'll do that live to show y'all how this works if you don't know. There we go. There's the voltage. So we're going to enter that. And we're going to go down to 115. Okay. See how it dropped the wattage up here to 1.8. That back in the days when I was little, my dad worked in construction up north, and so all our appliances were like 120, made for 120. There we go. All right, and back we go, and back up it goes. Just that little bit. 5 volts means a lot. And but what I was saying is, before the national grid thing, where it was like 100% universal everywhere kind of deal, is we would move. My mom and dad developed real estate on top of my dad's normal job, is what I'm trying to get at. But we would take 120 appliances and then go to an area that was on like a weaker regional grid or whatever, and they would only be burning like 110 volts, and it would make everything hum and whine and act silly and stupid. I actually learned that trick way early in life, like back when my grandfather was still alive, but that was way early, is what I'm trying to say. But that's how it's done, y'all. It is, producing your own is not that scary. I would highly recommend, if you're going to go off-grid, 100%, kind of deal, buy an extra inverter. Make sure it runs, but just keep it on the shelf for when you do have a problem. You know, I mean, it's going to take weeks to replace any of this gear otherwise, is what I'm trying to get at. Kind of why it's redundant with these two. Do I need them both? No, not really. Is it going to be handier in some of the applications that I do for like this winter? Yeah, it will. This one right now has no solar coming into it. That's the solar feed right here on this side. There's no solar going into it. There's 9 panels in the front yard. I have 3 of them at the minute wired in parallel, so it's only like 35 volts and like 45 amps. That's going over here at the minute to this, just to see what it could do. 93 degrees is what's inside. It started at 81 this morning, so that's a reasonable gain. It's barely 10 o'clock. Yesterday I was doing the same experiment, but I didn't get this hooked up until like almost 11. So I didn't think it was doing that great, to be honest. Like, it wasn't showing any great sign. Is that as powerful as, like, let's say this 1,000 watt element that was in that tank over here? No, it's not. It's probably half that amount of energy, even though the wattage should be the same. Okay, that's what I'm trying to get at. These MPPT controllers are efficient. That's just, you get a gain from that efficiency. The power width management modulation, or whatever you want to call it, the power width modulation is not it. That's just direct DC. But does it work? Yeah. Would it, if you had like 6 panels, even old, these are old panels that are running this, 16 years old. Can they compete with the new ones out back? No, not even. That's laughable, the difference in between the 2 panels. The ones out back are bifacial, which are incredibly strong even in cloudy weather. Can't recommend them enough for people that aren't like up here where it's brilliant daylight all the time. They would definitely be worth your money, is what I'm trying to get at. But like, that's what I was trying to show you, is if you can see that little water drip in the back is like, let's say 6 panels, 2 of those elements in a tank, and you got a distillery or a distilled water maker, is what I'm trying to get at. Would it have a purpose? Yeah, it would. I mean, it's no brains, no guts or nothing. It's just 3 panels out front, wired into the breaker, wired into the element. Period. Done. If you want another one, you just add to it and do it again. We did get some new stuff in, y'all. We got the new box, and I only ordered 1. I need 2, but I wanted to make sure that it was going to be big enough for these wider breakers to fit 2 of them in there. Otherwise, I would just order the next bigger box and then repurpose this for something else. But this is perfect, so I just wanted to make sure first, is what I'm trying to get at. I thought basically the same thing on these, except it's no bueno. I mean, it won't. These breakers are too big to put 2 in 1 box. So it was the same idea. It didn't work on this application, did work on this one, so we're good. We'll just order now what we need to finish it up. There's like a fancier one of those coming, a distribution box with meters and breakers and the whole bit, not just an on and off switch. It's not here yet. I think they're saying the 9th or something of October. They keep pushing this dude back. It was the 1st, and now it's the 9th. So I don't get real wild or crazy about stuff being delivered up here. This is the Highland Desert of Colorado. If you want to come to a place where there's like less of something and harder to get to, you probably would need to move to Alaska. Here, it's that hobbled, is what I'm trying to get at. But it's beautiful. I wouldn't live anywhere else, is what I'm trying to say. I enjoy living where I live. nor would I want to live anywhere else. But yeah, we're doing real good, and we're putting back into the batteries at a pretty good clip, 50 something amps. It would be time. Yeah, 58 amps is what's going back in. This is the time where I would crank up the pot, which probably when I get done with the video, that's what I'll do. I'm already charging my chair. Yeah, it's almost ready. Whenever that green light starts flickering on and off, that you got probably 20 minutes left, 30 minutes on the chair charge. I don't know, y'all. It's going good. Like I said, I got that changed out. I squished down some of the room here to get that to fit in long ways instead of sideways, which makes it a little easier on me. It did catch more crap. That's obvious. That's like a whatever you want to call it. It used to have the batteries on it, and it stayed fairly like free of junk. It's the perfect junk catcher. And there's my whole collection of hot water heater elements down there. Some of these are 240. If you didn't realize, the element goes on resistance in there. Not really. They can be used for other things, is what I'm trying to get at. Like in the 240 ones, if you had, I could use it in place of this element right here, is what I'm trying to get at, and it would work. It wouldn't produce any more power because the power is limited to the wattage of the 3 panels. That's just the way it works, I don't know how to describe that any better. And I did pick up this extension cord down here. I was needing the wire. I looked for a source of the wire online. That extension cord made with the handles was $10 cheaper than the wire alone, like bare wire. So I said, well, I'll work that out. I'll just buy it that way. I couldn't believe that it would be cheaper, but it is. Oh yeah, the sub panel I told you about, it's still coming. And the reliefs and all that, they had to be reordered. The bus bar had to be reordered. Oh, there's a bunch. But it's just been a horrible year. This whole tariff thing, yeah, he gets to take the money that he's stealing from consumer America and then bail out the inbred that voted for him, that he screwed over with tariffs, by screwing over their crops and bankrupting them. So now he's going to give them back Band-Aid money, so they'll be all whoopee and putting up billboards and saying how great he is again. I wish America would pull their head out of their ass, inhale some real oxygen, and get over this mental, feeble insanity that they have. This orange-faced clown is nothing good for America, y'all. He's making a mockery of our Constitution. He's making a mockery of our law and order. He's making a mockery of our everything. Every institution that we say is ours in America, free speech, he's just making a mockery of it. And if you really support this guy, I'm sorry for you. If you honestly support a 34-time convicted sexual felon, you're pretty much a perv or a degenerate or whatever. I mean, if you can overlook the fact that and by the way, y'all, I'm in that mile high loop or whatever they call that for the jets. They come through all the time like that. It's kind of cool, or at least I enjoy it, is what I'm trying to get at. But normally, whenever they ramp up activity on this course or whatever, we go do something stupid somewhere else, is what I'm trying to get at. It's just what they do. But But yeah, I'm going to cut this one short today. The we got some stuff coming in, stuff that didn't come in. Um, do I think that this is the answer? Probably not. I'm going to hook all 9 panels in a string, feed them through this inverter, run a 1,000 watt element into this at 120. If the 9 can cover it, then that's probably the way I'll do it. Um, Not that I need any more hot water. I'm just saying that eventually I would like to do over here is have one like that where it has the this is what I was talking about, where it has 2 holes for 2 elements, and that's the same size, but with insulation it would be, just like that, but just bigger. It'll fit right here, and that way I can shift on the fly to how much power I have. And if I'm making more 120 from this one, from another string, it'd offset it easier than trying to run DC direct. I'm not saying it doesn't work. It just doesn't work as efficiently. It works with much less equipment. Now that's a no-brainer there. But does it heat the water as fast or put as much power wattage-wise? Does it convert that power efficiently? No, it don't. If you add these up, I can show you that one real quick. This is 145 watts of power. This is 2,040 watts of power. You just don't see that last digit. It's bringing in 4,000 watts of usable energy, and then putting 61 into the batteries at this minute. That's pretty flippin' efficient, is what I'm trying to get at. That's 4,200 watts of power between the two, because they're both fed off the same battery. 2,200 watts of power off the two, and then being with 62 amps going back into the batteries with only 4,000 or 4,100-ish coming in from the solar. Do the math backwards. This is it's charging the batteries at 29.2 volt. It don't look like it, but really it is. That's just how much it's absorbing or whatever. It's doing a phenomenal job, y'all. Efficiency wise, it's a phenomenal job is what I'm trying to get at. So, okay, well, we're done with that. I don't know what else to say or do. I'm just saying, was I like a big fan of the DC Direct? It works. It's not as efficient as that. It's not as powerful. The induction load squashes the DC voltage. This is coming in at 35, but by the time it goes through the resistance of the wire, it's like 30 volt. And would that be a difference if I had a $1,000 DC to DC load maneuver or whatever like that? Yeah, it would. I mean, because then it would be 48 volt. But that DC to DC thing is about $1,000, $700. You can get probably cheaper ones, I'm sure, somewhere, but I wouldn't trust it. Is what I'm trying to get at. That's DC to DC is extremely hot, y'all. If you've never messed with that, that's extremely hot. You wouldn't want that in your house. You'd want that in a steel cargo container somewhere. Just FYI. Like I said, first resurmounter for a couple decades. I've seen a lot of people's dreams dashed in smoke and ash. Certain things you can, certain things you should not do. That's DC to DC is one that you should avoid if you can, is what I'm trying to get at. The Tesla was right. AC is better. Edison was wrong. I mean, yeah, everybody thinks that Edison is the one who did all this. That's not true. It's Tesla. Edison was just like Elmo. He had the money, he bought it, and then claimed superiority, and but Edison and Elmo are about the same IQ. They're not bright. They're just rich. That's the difference. But they're bright enough to understand the technology that they chose or whatever. But in the long short of it, is it the best? No, we got the best now. Is what I'm trying to get at. Or we're getting much better. And pretty soon, there's. I know this is going to be a hard point for some of y'all, but we're going to have thorium reactors. This isn't conventional nuclear. It uses spent nuclear fuel as a catalyst for the thorium reaction, which is benign and fairly safe. I mean, except for like a localized deal. You can put a thorium reactor in a 40-foot container, put it in every country around the world, and ain't nobody can exploit it for nuclear power or nuclear weapons. That's what I mean by fairly benign. It doesn't make weapons grade byproducts. It doesn't do any of that kind of stuff. For any of these like terrorist states, even what Russia has done with this war in Ukraine, that's who the IAEA should limit their ability. Russia can't threaten the world like they have anymore. They used to be a terrorist organization that had fuel capacity. Ukraine has taken away the fuel capacity. They're just terrorists. Anybody that can threaten nuclear war over any consideration or any that's just a terrorist. They're just a bully. They need to be punched in the fucking face until their teeth fall out, and then make them stop. Go in. NATO needs to go in and secure St. Petersburg and secure Moscow. Make a no-flight zone of the entire country before these people freeze. I mean, I'm not saying to do this to be mean to them. I'm saying this lunatic is going to kill millions of Russians this year. Outside of the two big cities, Russia is huge, but they really are not that advanced. Outside of the two big cities, the majority of homes burn fuel oil, heating oil. They need 5 to 13 gallons of heating fuel a day. Right now, the Russian economy, they're limited to less than 1 gallon of fuel per person per day. Do the frickin' math. If they can't drive their cars, they can't heat their homes, they're in a world of shit because of this little clown. I'm just saying intervene for the safety and security of millions of people is what I'm trying to get at. Not because I want to be, like some big bully or whatever. We already have little maniacs and madmen that think that they're, God's gift to humanity. The world doesn't need these little people at all. None of them. And that goes for like 2/3 of our politicians here too. They're just posers that are there to do two terms to have $250,000 retirement for the rest of their life. That's what they're there for, people. Accept that or not, call me a liberal snowflake if you want. I don't care. Dude, I'm a constitutional conservative. I am as far from a liberal as it gets. But even I can smell the shit from his diaper. That's all I'm trying to get at. Y'all have a big day. Bye.